What would happen to the world if no one ever died? Let's imagine a world where death is no longer part of the equation. At first, it sounds like a utopia. No funerals, no grief, no goodbyes. But dig deeper, and you'll find it's far more complicated. Without death, the human population would grow uncontrollably. With over 8 billion people already alive and continuous births, the Earth would become unbearably overcrowded. Resources like food, water, and energy would run out fast. Pollution would skyrocket, forests would vanish, species would go extinct, and the environment would collapse under the weight of humanity. Socially, things would spiral too. No one dying means no one retiring, no jobs opening up, and no inheritance passing down. Imagine being stuck in the same job or relationship for hundreds of years. Over time, motivation and ambition could fade. After all, what's the rush when you have forever? Psychologically, the meaning of life might erode. Without an end, time loses urgency and achievements lose weight. The emotional depth of life, love, fear, purpose, comes from knowing it's temporary. Biologically, death serves an important role. It clears out genetic mistakes and allows evolution to progress. Without it, harmful mutations could accumulate and the species would stagnate. Even if people stopped dying, their bodies would continue aging, leaving us with a population of endlessly aging individuals trapped in bodies that don't shut down but also don't function well. And philosophically, death gives life its shape. It's the reason we value time, relationships, and moments. Without death, life becomes an endless loop. In short, a world without death isn't heaven. It's a crowded, chaotic, and meaningless existence. As strange as it sounds, death is not the enemy. It's the quiet force that gives life direction. If that blew your mind, make sure to hit subscribe and join the MindPop community, where curiosity never dies. So here's this. What would happen if no one ever died? You might think, no deaths, more time to party. But then there's this. No retirements, no jobs open, no promotions. You're stuck in your 20s forever, working a job that doesn't pay better than your parents' job. Wait, they don't die, so they don't retire. So they keep working too. How did society get so old and so divided? The idea of a world without death isn't a new one. It pops up in myths, religions, and sci-fi stories. Sometimes it's portrayed as a blessing, sometimes a curse. In mythology, the Norse god Odin spent a year in the underworld and emerged with the knowledge of runes, which gave him wisdom and power. In the Book of Life, the Egyptians believed that death was just a doorway to another realm. Meanwhile, in the Christian tradition, Jesus' resurrection brought hope of eternal life after death. These beliefs show how intertwined death is with our understanding of life, giving it deeper meaning and significance. In movies and TV shows, immortality can be a plot device to explore themes of loneliness and isolation. Take the vampire genre. Vampires are cursed to live forever, doomed to watch everyone they love die over and over again. That sounds lonely and sad. Here's another. Humanity in general has a tendency to anthropomorphize, meaning we tend to project human traits and emotions onto non-human things. When it comes to nature, we might say that a tree is happy to grow tall, or a bird is sad to fly away. This is despite the fact that trees and birds don't experience emotions the way humans do. And when it comes to death, we often personify it. We might talk about death as if it's a person, saying things like, "Death has come for you," or "Death is knocking at your door." This is because our brains need stories to make sense of the world. And the idea of death as a person is a story that helps us cope with the reality of our own mortality. But back to that original question, what would happen if no one ever died? Well, let's start with the basics. People would live out their natural lives, never facing the finality of death. Sounds peaceful, right? Well, maybe for some. But what about all the other people who died before their time, either through war, famine, disease, or accident? Would their loved ones just keep waiting for them to return, never coming to terms with their absence? Death is a universal part of the human experience. Every single one of us will face it one day. It's this knowledge that shapes our lives. It makes us appreciate the present moment, cherish our loved ones, and fuels our creativity and ambition. Without death, there would be no impetus for innovation, no drive to create something meaningful, since everything would become meaningless anyway. Psychologically, death gives meaning to our existence. It sets boundaries that force us to prioritize and make the most of our time. Without those boundaries, we might find ourselves adrift in a sea of endless possibilities, paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choices. Death is also a great equalizer. It doesn't care about our social status, wealth, or power. We're all equal in the face of it. It's this shared vulnerability that unites us, reminding us that no matter how high we climb, we're still human. Without death, there would be no reminder of our mortality. From a biological standpoint, death is crucial. It's the catalyst for evolution, allowing species to adapt and change over time. Without it, species would become stagnant, unable to evolve, and ultimately perish. In short, death is a fundamental aspect of life. It's the counterbalance that gives meaning, value, and perspective to our existence. A world without death wouldn't be a world at all. As the great philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "The thought of suicide has never occurred to me. On the contrary, I sometimes think if I could be damned to live for 1,000 years without committing suicide, that would be the greatest punishment." Now, that's food for thought. Do you agree? Can you imagine a world where death doesn't exist? How do you think people would react? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.